Washington Bullets. He led the NBA in scoring in 1985, suffering a career-threatening knee injury at the end of that season. He has successfully fought back to challenge for that title again this year, and forward Bernard King.
That's one of the most memorable moments of my career, for the very reason that I thought about that moment for 6 years. It actually took me 6 years to get back to the level that I felt I had been at during that period that I was with the Knicks.
In his 6th NBA season, Brooklyn native Bernard King got the chance to come home as he was traded to the New York Knicks.
You know, you grew up as a kid and you watch Dave DeBusschere, you watch Walt Frazier and Willis Reed, and you dream of one day maybe being out there on the court with the Knicks as well. I used to have goosebumps when I drove to Madison Square Garden.
And the Knicks coming again to Bernard King, to the baseline. He put the shot up, it counts! And the Garden is on its feet.
Bernard King did very, very few things with pizzazz, with fanciness, with a lot of splash.
Super move by King.
He had such a repertoire of offensive, big plays, his spin moves.
Bernard King once again.
His release on his post-up were one of the quickest releases ever.
Bernard pulls the trigger, bullseye!
He was like a swooping bird on the fast break.
Bernard King on the run.
That was really probably the most exciting part of the game for me, when I would fill lanes and I felt like I was a deer and I was able to just sprint at will.
There's Bernard releasing the one-man fast break.
In 1984, on a trip to Texas, Bernard went on a 2-game scoring rampage.
5 seconds. Here's Bernard looking for 50. He's got it.
We're at San Antonio. Bernard scores 50. Next night we go to Dallas. And you figure, well, what else can he do to top this?
Give it to King, the screaming.
They say, give it to B. Okay.
All right, here it is. Bernard looking for 50, and he's got it. Back-to-back 50-point games for Bernard King.
Bernard had risen to the peak of his game and was lifting the Knicks along with him. In the '84 playoffs, he almost single-handedly carried New York past Detroit in the opening round.
Lewis went up with the left to King with a sensational rebound.
In the next round, the Knicks lost in 7 games to Boston, the eventual NBA champs. But King left a lasting impression on the Celtics.
Bernard King, I think, is the best forward in the league, hands down. And he's the type of guy that gets it to you every minute he's on the court.
But then in March of 1985, with King leading the league in scoring, everything changed in a game against Kansas City.
Look out, King hurt himself.
We were in a 1-point game. Reggie Theus was breaking down the sideline for a layup, and Bernard King tried to catch him. You could hear the blowout in the knee, and it was like someone shot him as he went to the floor.
That was a devastating period for me, naturally, to be at the peak of my career. And in one quick moment to have it all basically end and to be told that your career, may possibly even be over.
You might say that Bernard King was in a dream world, but it turned into a nightmare.
Bernard had suffered a torn anterior cruciate ligament in his knee, one of the game's most dreaded injuries, and it appeared that his career was in serious jeopardy.
Few, if any, professional basketball player has ever returned to his previous level of performance with the tear of this ligament.
But King simply refused to accept the idea that he might never play again. He embarked on many months of painful rehab and dedicated himself to returning to the game.
I personally believe I'm definitely going to play again. I don't have time for being down. I'm a fighter, and don't ever count Bernard King out.
True to his word, Bernard returned to the court 2 years after his injury.
I think we waited long enough. Here's the captain, Bernard King.
I said, hey, you're back. You can play. You can play again. And you have it physically, and you can build on it from here.
He would continue his comeback as a member of the Washington Bullets, where he proved to everyone, including himself, that he still had his old skills.
Good
it's
move.
good to see him run the floor like that. That's what he did so well before the knee injury. The fans applauding a tremendous performance by Bernard King. His first 50-point game since undergoing major knee surgery.
Finally, in February of 1991, Bernard's comeback was complete. He officially regained his place among the NBA's elite when he was selected to play in the All-Star game.
This is a culmination of a dream for me.
From the Washington Bullets, he led the NBA in scoring in 1985, suffering a career-threatening knee injury at the end of that season. He has successfully fought back to challenge for that title again this year at the age of 34.
To rise back to that level at the age of 34 years old, knowing that for 6 years is something I've worked on 12 months out of the year to make happen again, it was an unreal moment for me.
Playing in his fourth